Did he just tell me to shut up?
Yeah. I mean, no.
He might be allowed to tell me to shut up. I think I know him
We're friends.
pretty well at this point. So yeah.
That's fair.
Speaking of knowing things pretty well, this is episode 44 of Your House Our Rules. We're sneaking up on 50, y'all. But, you know, we got two old school guys back here. Luke Stolze and Chris Shad, both been on the podcast before. You know them. You love them. You know we're going to get some gaming content in. So what we're going to talk about a little bit today is we're all Call of Duty guys. We all kind of come from that environment. We all went to school at the same time back at Elder. And Stolze was just a year younger than us. But, you know, Modern Warfare 2 was really what, like, created that ultimate love for shooters, and we're going to review that. But I think I kind of want to talk about something that is more all-encompassing of all types of games, especially shooters right now, which is skill-based matchmaking. It's something that, you know, it has the community of a lot of different games and genres divided, but I think a lot of people are more of a proponent for not having it, but the devs kind of keep it in there so, you know, the newer players don't get fucked over every single time they do. But I kind of want to kick it off with Stolze on this one because I think that you're probably the most talented shooter out of all three of us. So how do you feel about skill-based matchmaking, man? Because obviously your lobbies are going to get pulled up a lot more.
Dude, my lobbies, I might as well be in the CDL at this point. But, like, the thing is, like, they've always had a certain type of skill-based matchmaking. Like,
of course.
Like, think back to, like, even COD 4 or MW2. Like, when you're playing, you never played against guys that were, like, rank 1.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, it was closer to guys your rank, so it was, like, it wasn't skill-based based off of, like, score per minute like it is now.
Mm-hmm.
And it also wasn't as cranked as it is now.
No.
Like, if you win 3 games in a row, like, Spilly, you've played with me where, you know, we dominate for 3 games and then all of a sudden the algorithm or whatever kicks in and it's like boom, like the gamer tags change, the play styles change, everything changes.
When I'm playing Apex, I play with a lot of different people on Apex, but my cousin Jack, who's probably one of the reasons why I even play video games as much as I do, because like knowing him my whole life, we always gamed back on N64 and shit like that. Whenever I get in his lobbies in Apex, they're significantly different than anybody else I play with.
It's
like,
2 different games.
Yeah, it's 2 completely different games, and you start to see the levels with each different person. But like you said, one thing that I think about the entire situation is that, like you said, it's cranked right now. Like when I was a kid, the first time I really noticed it was right around Advanced Warfare, Call of Duty. That was the one that, like, I was like, damn, these lobbies are significantly better than most of the other ones I played. But I don't know. How do you see them, Shad?
I think it's good for them to have it just because most of their player base is casual players. Yeah. But like you guys were saying, I definitely think it needs like tweaked a little bit because it definitely is not the same as it used to be. No. I feel like they kind of had it right before and then they backtracked and made everything sweaty now.
Right. Now, do you think that that's just because you think it might have something to do with the fact that, like, as we progress through, like, gaming and stuff like that, because that was back on the Xbox 360, we're talking about Modern Warfare 2. Do you think that overall gamers have just gotten better and that might be why we're starting to see less of a skill gap?
Yes and no. I think crossplay has a lot to do with it. You're running into just a way bigger group of people, and with gaming being just bigger than it ever has been, I think that plays a big part in it.
Yeah, and a lot of my friends hate playing with me because I'm always on mouse and keyboard now, and most of them are on controller. So when I get pulled into those lobbies, they're not used to playing with controller players. But like when I started playing Fortnite, and this is why I don't necessarily think that the gamers have just evolved. When I used to play Fortnite, we used to absolutely shit on kids and fucking in the pub matches, and then out of nowhere they started releasing like the ranked playlist, but at the same time, like the actual lobbies started getting better. And it could have been because everyone was just progressing as like the game was going on, but like it was significantly different. And
or hitting that kid bush camping when it was the 1v1 at the end of the game.
Like I remember
the dude was building that too.
Right. I remember like then you'd have like 3 squads left and it would be like 2 full squads and all of a sudden you have this fucking nobody just like hiding in a bush somewhere. It's like this is the easiest kill of all time. And like all of a sudden it was like we're getting knocked out like early on in the game or fucking midway through or something like that, and it's like we're not seeing these just fucking absolute donuts fucking playing, bro.
Yeah, you're getting sniped on rotation.
Yeah.
And I think the styles changed a lot too. I feel like they're more based on like not necessarily a slower pace, but more set up for people to just sit in buildings and shit. Whereas I feel like it used to be way more open run and gun type shit.
Yeah, I
don't know. Map development. They've actually
Yeah.
been open about that though, where like they literally said that they want to make like a safe space. Like if you go look at MW19, interviews with the devs, they literally said that they want to make it more camper. Like he was like, I don't want to say
Camper-friendly.
campy.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want to call it
Noob-friendly.
camper
Yeah.
friendly or noob friendly. He's like, but we gotta,
Yeah.
we have a base.
Right.
We gotta
Right.
expand.
And I used to hate that style of gameplay back in the day, even though to get like my first nukes when I first was on Modern Warfare 2, I was a camper. And then I discovered what fucking quick scoping was, and that just elevated my fucking game. But
Well, and another thing, I was actually watching a Jev video the other day. It was from like a year ago.
yeah.
He was playing IW4X, that MW2 mod or whatever, and he was like going through all the weapon challenges, and he was like 250 headshots for fall camo, and he was like, none of these things, because it was like heartbeat sensor kills, extended mag kills, and FMJ kills.
Yeah.
And his main point was that none of those things change the way you play. The way that these weapon camos are set up now, it's like get 15 mounted kills, get 30 prone
Absolutely.
kills, get so and so this
Fucking
many
prone.
kills.
So
So
they
it
can
really
help
makes
introduce,
you play.
introduce the new
Right, like-
mechanics they put.
Yeah, and it wants it so they make you sit back and get long shots and mounted kills, and it's just the way the game is developed at this point. Like they want the casual guy to come home, play for an hour, and not get shit on.
Well, like we
Right.
said
And
before, that's kind of the way that it is, because the vast majority, and we don't understand as people who have been gaming so long, as we don't necessarily understand that like 99% of the people who are playing the video game on an everyday basis, and the vast amount of money that's being put into the game is coming from an average gamer. Fucking someone, and when someone comes in who's just this fucking scrub that's never played video games before, and they hop in and they're getting shit on by a team like us, they're not going to want to fucking
Right.
play it anymore.
Yeah,
But-
they're not
come
buying
back.
skins. They're not buying.
but that's
gunsmiths
my
stuff.
whole thing with it is like I think that's like fucking an initiation into that fucking space. Like I got shit on when I was a fucking kid. I didn't know how to pop shot in Gears of War 1, which is my first real shooter or anything like that. I had to fucking learn that shit. And like back then, I didn't have fucking YouTube that I can go on and just like learn how to do it. And like I rarely even play a video game without watching videos on it beforehand anymore. So like there's so many more tools and shit now that like it's kind of like you can progress faster even without having the skill. And I just think that there needs to be some like rite of passage. There has to be.
Right, you scroll TikTok or YouTube Shorts anymore, and every other video is like, "Here's the best build for this gun," or "Here's your settings that you need,"
Yeah,
and
and they're
all
all
kinds of shit.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I don't understand. Like I cannot wrap my head around. Like if they're so worried about keeping the casual gamer in here, then it's like this gunsmith ain't for a casual gamer, dude. Like you literally have to be in a military to understand what this gunsmith is.
Yeah, and I
Like-
think we were talking
Like
about
you want to use an AK-47, there's 3 different AK-47s. Which one do you use? Which one's
Right.
the AK-47? The 7.62, the 5.56, the submachine gun? Like what's happening?
I mean, I see what they're doing. Excuse me. We were talking about the other day. They want to have it so that each gun you can kind of make your own setup for it. So like I could have a super mobile like SMG AK-47 and do it that way. But the problem is what we have in Call of Duty, everyone who's playing Call of Duty is just going to slap the best fucking attachment on and they're all going to use it. That's why in like competitive right now, apparently all we're seeing is M4s. Like you're going to see the same shit over and over again. No one's going to sit there
Dude,
and
I can
actually
talk for
test
an
out the
hour about
games.
I can talk for an hour about GAs right now. Like
Yeah.
Right.
it is out of control.
Yeah, and I mean
Which
go for
it's after some point you got to play the game. You got to play the game, right?
right.
Like we can't
Yeah.
like dude, the fact that it took a community outrage to get snipers into the CDL just because smoke grenades are kind of busted. Like they're not even as bad as they were like in the past 2 like Cold War they were really really bad.
So can you
Yeah.
kind of explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so and I think Apex has a little bit of it too, like with the Bangalore smokes, where like if you pop it at your feet, you can kind of see out of it, but they can't see in. And it's the same effect where if you're getting shot at, you can duck behind cover real quick, drop your smoke, and they think that you're leaving, but you can pop back up and you can at least see, you know, that little red diamond that's above their heads, and you still get aim assist. The problem is the person aiming in doesn't have aim assist and doesn't get that red dot
Yeah.
or the red diamond above. So it's like it's broken in a way, but it's like just don't use it that way. Use it for crosses, use it for, you know what I mean? Like
Well, that's where the whole gentleman's agreement comes in, which is something
Right.
that happens in competitive gameplay. But like when you're talking about skill-based matchmaking as a whole, like one of the issues that we have is like the devs are in control of it. I think there's a lot of people who would like to have a public
not even the
playlist.
devs, it's Activision. It's straight up Activision. Like the devs for the most part, are on our side.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't just call that Activision because, sorry, I have a little bit of a cough, but I think that a lot of games have that. Like Apex that has skill-based matchmaking, and you can kind of see it in just about every game. But, like, I think a lot of people do want to have a playlist where they can go in and just casually game with their friends. Nick Merckx was on there the other day, and he was talking about, he's like, I can't really play Apex with my friends because I go into a lobby and I pull it up and they don't want to get fucking shit on the whole time. Mm-hmm. So why can't we have a playlist where I can just fucking goon out and all my friends can fucking at least enjoy the game with me? Now, the thing about it is, if we were to make a playlist that was especially for that, like you have a skill-based or you have ranked playlist, and then a regular playlist that has skill-based matchmaking, and then one that just has no skill-based matchmaking, the only person who's going to go into that non-skill-based matchmaking are the really good players. So you just get a fucking counter effect in a different playlist. So
the thing is, though, man, is like the problem with the skill-based matchmaking as a whole, though, is like the higher the skill base is, the worse your connection gets, because they don't care about latency, they don't care about ping, they just care about who they can get in a lobby that has similar skill base or score per minutes. So even if I'm playing with my buddy Jeff or whatever, he gets 10 kills a game, I'm dominating his lobbies, but our skill base is so bad because we're playing 3 people that are my skill level, and then we're playing 3 people that are his, and it's just all over the map. So I'm sitting like 90 to 100 in ping.
I don't think all of them work like that. Apparently, Apex only pulls from the top player. So
like Halo and Call of Duty both do that.
Okay, yeah,
where they pull from different.
And that's how you can get a little bit of a variety, like mixing players and stuff like that. But like you were talking about with like latency and shit like that, like average players might be running on fucking 10 megabytes per second fucking internet or something like that. Right. And like I have 500 over here, so. Yeah, I mean, the whole skill-based...
I mean, like, if you're paying for it, it should work. Yeah. Like, you can't... Like, why are you dumbing down my stuff if I'm paying for it?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, well, that gets into the whole fucking scenario with Call of Duty, which we can start getting into a little bit. And it's the reason why we're going to do a whole review on it. I haven't even played the regular game. I've watched a little bit of streams and stuff like that. I've only played Warzone because it's free. And my whole thing is, I looked at what was going on with all the top streamers and shit, and I did not want to fucking spend $70 to play that game. So, I mean, what are your guys kind of feeling on it? Because I know you guys actually kind of like the game or think that it has potential. It's just they're not doing the right things.
Go ahead, Spills, or go ahead, Stolze.
I just as much as I'm like playing the game and going through it and everything, it's just like it just seems like the game wasn't ready. Like, all in all, like, with the PC crashes and everything like that, like, the game, it just wasn't ready. I mean, and that's why they went to this 2-year cycle so they could keep, release a more polished game and everything. But, like, it's still a 3-year cycle on these games, dude. Like, you're still getting 3 years for every game. If Treyarch, Sledgehammer, and Raven are all doing it, or Infinity Ward are all doing it, there's a 3-year gap in there if you just develop the game. Exactly. So it's like, come on, man. Like, we got to figure this out. They made $1 billion in 3 days.
Yeah. No, it's like it's crazy. And that's another reason why, because like we've learned at this point in time that the games have become so advanced since like the new Xbox One games and shit like that, that like they can't keep up and with the 1-year cycle. Apparently, I don't know what it is, but Shad was talking to me the other day. He's like, there's no hardcore, there's no ground war. I don't think there's like a fucking active ranked system in the fucking game. And it's like, these are all things that have been in every fucking Call of Duty on the same goddamn Unreal Engine that we've been running since fucking Call of Duty 1. Like, why can't we get the shit that has been in all of them?
It is a modified engine. It's not the OG Quake engine, but
yeah. Well, like he said, it was like it came out and it's like it wasn't ready. They didn't have hardcore. They didn't have leaderboards. They had all their game crashes for like 3 weeks, for like 2 weeks.
My game's still crashing.
Yeah, Warzone's still fucking crashing. Yeah.
Right.
For calling a precision airstrike, my game might crash.
Yeah.
For like 2 weeks, you couldn't play with a party of more than 3. Or else it would just crash.
This is the regular, like, arena style Call of Duty?
Yeah, this is just normal Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer.
Jesus Christ.
And it's like they waited until Season 1 to finish their game, but they released it before Season 1 was ready.
Well,
now, I can comment on that. They did release this game early to get the CDL started.
Okay, I got you.
This game's always a November release. If you think back, it's always first week in November.
Up until last year, I think, right?
Yeah, and that's because of the CDL. Like they want to get the CDL started as early as possible. Gotcha. Problem
it was just weird.
You can't have private parties. You can't have private lobbies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's
it was just weird games. Not having.
There is, but you got to like do some backdoor hacking. Like you got to look like the shit in my background in order to get into a private lobby and scrim.
Right. Yeah, it was just weird. A Call of Duty game coming out with no leaderboards, like no barracks and no hardcore. Like those were like staples of the game.
Yeah. It makes absolutely no sense, and it's a fucking AAA company. It's Activision,
right? And they're making more money. And they're making more money than ever with battle passes and skins and shit. Yeah. Like, there's no excuse for it. To be $70 on release with that little shit.
Yeah. No, it's stupid. And it's one of those things where, like, I was talking to y'all, and I was like, I might get the game when it's, like, $35 a couple months, and the game's actually released. Because where we're at now with Call of Duty, they release it, like, the actual multiplayer, and then they have updates that are releasing the stuff that we've seen in every other game continue.
Yeah.
So it's just like, in my opinion, it wasn't worth the fucking $70. Now, Warzone, I think, has the right idea with what they're doing there, because it's free, and it's going completely off microtransactions. So, yeah, I got that and I checked it out. There's definitely some good about the game. I think that like all around, the Call of Duty Warzone is the most like realistic, unless you're playing like Arma, the most realistic combat simulator that you can really play, or at least from a AAA company, because like it feels like an actual like cityscape with like these outskirt towns and like oil factories and stuff like that. It feels like a real life thing. Everything has multiple levels. You know, when you're playing games like Apex or whatever, everything's kind of set on like 3 stages.
Right.
There's not fucking much elevation or whatever. Now, if you're talking about from like a camping standpoint, you might not like the gameplay, and I do not necessarily like the gameplay because of that. But like I was going through it with Stolze the other day, and I'm walking through fucking the desert, and we're just like huffing it through the fucking desert. Nothing around us at all, and you can hear fucking precision airstrikes in the fucking like in the distance and stuff. And it was like,
like you're at
the sound was great. Like it's a really cool like game in that aspect, but like when it comes down to actual gameplay, it feels a lot like COD to me. And maybe I'm just getting burnt out on COD, and that's why I wasn't enjoying it. But like the first couple days I played it, I was all right. But like last Saturday, I was thinking about watching the USA-England game, and I was like debating on it. And after like an hour or two of playing that day, I was just like, you know what? I'd much rather go watch that game because I'm just not really having all that much fun playing this.
Right.
Yeah. So how do y'all feel about the Warzone?
I'm enjoying it. I think it still needs some work on their servers, obviously. But I think visually it's fantastic. I do think it plays like COD, obviously. I get bored playing solo, so I got to team up to play it. But other than that, like I enjoy it. It's fun.
Yeah, that's how I've been with video games for a very long time now. I can't really play them by myself. I was playing Apex the other day by myself and actually having some fun with it. But Call of Duty or anything like that, there's absolutely no way I could play this game by myself.
I think proximity chat's the best thing they could have done.
Proximity chat is really cool. It has its issues because like that there's a team around you, but at the same time like you can have some really funny moments. You
can turn it off too. You don't have to have it on.
Exactly. Have you had any really good moments? Because most of the times I try to talk to people, they just get silent.
I had one. We were playing Unhinged Trios, and you can join another squad in that. Mm-hmm. And so me and my buddy squatted up with another team of 3 to make a squad of 5, and we just fucking wrecked the lobby and won.
Yeah, no.
It was hilarious. But they were cool, yeah.
How does that Unhinged work exactly? Because I was looking at that.
It's the most toxic game mode of all time.
It can team up with
dude.
You can request to join or invite another squad to yours.
Yeah, it's like as close to Rust as you're gonna get in Call of Duty. Like it's literally like, hey man, you want to join our squad? You're the last one on your squad alive. Like leave your squad, join our squad. And he's like, yeah, okay, but you have him out in the middle of the street, you just pop. Goodbye. Like it's the most toxic shit ever.
Yeah, it definitely can be.
No, I mean that sounds like all right. That's one of those things where I think they're incorporating a little bit more of like a community aspect. Like that's more for funny moments rather than like actual like hardcore gameplay.
I do wish it was like a true proximity chat though.
Yeah.
Like I wish it was like if I'm far away, I want you to like barely be able to hear me. Like if I'm in a truck, I want my voice to get louder as I'm coming to you.
That would be cool. But the one thing that I have to say about proximity chat, it doesn't seem to be working correctly. Like I've had it work sometimes. I've had it work for people on my team sometime when we all have it on, but like sometimes Shad can hear someone and I can't.
Yeah, well, and when I was playing with you that day on stream, we could hear them, but they couldn't hear me talking.
Yeah. Just all kinds of stupid stuff. And like,
let me ask you this, Shad, does your high alert work?
I haven't used it on Warzone, but as I'm multiplayer,
Spilly, have you used it?
What are you talking about?
So I can send you a link on it. Merc tweeted out that apparently people that have the actual bot MW2 are having issues in Warzone with their high alert, but people that got just the free version of Warzone, the perks are working just fine. And I swear, I was swearing up and down to people that I started running Ghost of Warzone because my high alert wasn't working. And I was like, I mean, I guess I run around and look like in circles a lot, but I'm like, I'm not looking at anybody.
Right.
So I should be getting it triggered, but it's not.
So you're telling me that the people who spent $70 on the game are getting perks to work, but the people who didn't, the perks don't work in the fucking game.
Dude, I will send you. I've
seen something about that too.
Hang on, I'll send you. I'll tag you.
Well,
I will tag you in the thread right now.
That's another issue that I had with the fucking Warzone being dropped or whatever. When I got on, I played for the first day, no problem. It was hard because it was super laggy, and that is what it is. I'm not going to hate on Call of Duty for that because no matter how big your company is, what game it is, the first day you're always going to have some fucking latency errors. But where was I going with that? I got distracted by my fucking phone.
But anyway, I mean, since that was my fault that you got distracted.
Yeah.
Merc tweeted to Tfue. I guess Tfue was streaming. Merc was watching him. And Merc said, so wait, perk packages work for people who don't own MW2 multiplayer? I'm watching Tfue run around with high alert on it. I'm so jealous. I tweeted, holy shit, I thought I was going insane telling people my high alert didn't work. And I got multiple likes on that tweet. Yeah. So I'm not alone.
So that's wild because like I was running Ghost too, and I got killed really sketchily the other day. Some dude just like dropped in and landed right on me inside a building. And I'm like, how the fuck does he know where I'm at? Like I was supposed to have Ghost on.
Yeah. And
so that's wild.
And footsteps are completely different in the two. Two multiplayer, they're cranked. Warzone, they're
right. And that's where I was going with the statement before was the second day that I played, it wasn't letting me play because it kept giving me that glitch where it said you need to buy the full game in order to play Warzone. And to me, that is something that is completely fucking unacceptable on a fucking game release. Like, if you're going to release a paid game along with the unpaid game, you should not have anyone not able to play your unpaid game because of that. Because, like, if I was a new player to that and I logged on and saw that fucking glitch, I would say, fuck this shit.
You're just throwing your hands up and...
Yeah.
Well, how many people do you think actually went and bought it, too, seeing that?
A lot.
Because that probably fucked a lot of people out of $70.
How sketchy is fucking Activision that they might have done that to fucking get people to buy the game was a little extra cash grab because we know you're greedy, you fucks.
Dude, it was so fucked from Jump Street because like I don't know, Shad, if you downloaded through Battle.net or if you went through
I was
Steam.
on PlayStation, so.
Oh, PlayStation.
Yeah, we couldn't download Battle.net.
So Battle.net, you couldn't download it because the servers got overloaded. So
I heard that.
It was a Battle.net issue, though.
Yes, it was a Battle.net issue. But the problem was, I'm thinking, okay, I'll just go download it on Steam so I can play Warzone. So now I'm playing Warzone on Steam and MW2 multiplayer on Battle.net. So I go into Warzone on Steam one day, and the only way I can get in is if I completely delete my account and restart everything.
Oh, no shit.
I'm like, okay, now. I'm like, okay. And I still had to buy the game on Steam even though I had the license on my computer from Battle.net, and I'm like, this is so stupid.
Yeah, and it was. I had kind of like a similar issue, not quite as extreme, but when I was going from Steam, like we said on the first day, trying to download it, I tried to download it on Battle.net the next day, so I didn't have to pay $70 fucking. And when I logged in, all my key binds and settings were completely reset. It's like, and it's the same Activision account, like it's just on a different software that we're running it. So I don't know, there's so many fucking bugs, and it just kind of makes you fucking like, let's do something about this, because it needs to fucking be changed. It needs to be fixed. And I think that people are too willing to just drop that $70 and say fuck it to get the new Call of Duty. That's why I didn't do it this year. I refused to do it. I didn't
do it with Vanguard.
You didn't?
No, I never got Vanguard. I saw it a couple times. And I'm like, nah.
That was actually the first one that I didn't do it because I bought Cold War and fucking I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get Cold War. I'm gonna see how this goes, and then I played it for maybe like a day or two, and I don't even think I'm like level 30 in that game, and never picked it up again. And it was just
I liked Cold War. Maybe a little biased just because I was decent at it, but I liked it. I just didn't have anybody to play it with, so I played it for like 2 weeks. And I was done.
Yeah.
Well, I was disgusting at it.
Yeah, it's a Treyarch game, so I'd imagine that it was probably one of the better gameplay wise than all the other Call of Duties.
It played decent.
30-year-old Luke's gonna dominate everything.
Which gets me to fucking like a little bit of a hopeful part of this the podcast. The next game that we got is going to be a 2-year wait, so they have a whole another year to get it out, and it's a Treyarch game, right? Both Warzone and the multiplayer. So
I think so.
Treyarch has been the best out of all the gaming companies since fucking Modern Warfare 2. It hasn't even been close at all. So I do have high hopes for that. But I'm really hoping that if they know what they're doing, they need to just say fuck the whole $70 package to get a game. That has been proven to not work since League of Legends, and then Fortnite popularized it. So release a goddamn free game. Release all the guns that you've ever had. Release all the fucking attachments that you've ever had. Release all kinds of throwback maps as well as new maps or whatever. Have the CDL, and you can do it as a thing like week by week tournament. You can update what you're gonna do. So like let's say that like one tournament or like one quarter of a tournament, say it's like 3 tournaments or something like that. There's a meta change, so you might have one gun that works better than another gun, but they're saying, okay, these are the game type rotations, these are the map rotations, and then they have their veto, their pick ban system or whatever to get those.
I miss that. I do miss that.
Can you imagine if we had every single Call of Duty like map and gun or whatever and doing that, and like they had with some sort of system for maps and shit? Yeah, and like we don't have to have like all of them incorporating because that would be a little bit too much. I think it would be cool. But like one thing you could have like you could even do something like a Modern Warfare 2 map pack or some shit where like so for that tournament in specific, it's like you have Terminal and Skid Row as 2 of the map options.
Favela.
And then the next tournament you have like a fucking Black Ops 2 or some shit like that. So I mean they have so much potential here, and you know that they're going to get tons of money off microtransactions.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know why they don't just do something like that. I hope they do, but I think they'll get too greedy.
Do you see what they're doing next year?
What?
With the do you see what they're doing next year with the expansion?
No.
Onto this game?
No.
They're fucking coming out with a $70 expansion for this game next year.
Oh, really? So,
yeah.
So you got to pay $70 to buy the game, and then next year they're going to have... So they're basically just releasing another game.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm going to see if I can find it. But yeah, they're releasing a premium expansion in 2023.
And what?
It's going to be fucking $70.
Do you know what that all entails? Is it just like new maps and new guns, new attachments?
I'm on it. I'm looking at it right now. Give me 1 second. The next game is confirmed by Treyarch 2024.
Yeah. I was talking to someone about that the other day, and they were like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Where have you read that? I was like, trust me, I know some people that have pretty reliable information on Call of Duty, man. It's not.
Yeah. So this doesn't tell me shit about that DLC, but they're going to be releasing a paid DLC alongside with Sledgehammer Games. That's all it really says.
And it's going to be just like all the other games where they have map packs with new maps and stuff like that.
Fucking probably.
Yeah, it's
same polished turd.
I mean, it'll be from the same company, so at least it gives Treyarch another year to kind of perfect theirs. But
right, but it's a fucking DLC. Like, don't be charging $70 for that shit too. Like, your first game was fucking already too expensive with all the money you're getting.
Yeah, and is it from Infinity Ward?
Yeah, I think it's just coming straight to this game alongside Sledgehammer. So
yeah, and another thing that I was talking about, if you had the free Call of Duty game, just called Call of Duty, and do that like rotations or whatever, you could also have like in competitive league or playlist and stuff. You could have a jetpack one, and you could have a regular one, boots on the ground, so people can play whatever
like
Black
Ops 3 type.
I know 2025 apparently Advanced Warfare 2 is supposed to come out or whatever, and I'm pumped for jetpacks. Jetpacks I thought added a whole level of mobility and movement that made the game so much more of a skill gap, in my opinion, and made it so much more fun to play. So,
I enjoyed them, yeah.
Yeah. After Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare was just kind of fucking shit. It really wasn't a good game.
Yeah.
But when it went back
I liked
to
the zombies, but that was about it.
Yeah. Yeah. It went back to after that it went to fucking World War II, which was just dumb. I don't know why they ever thought that would be good. But it's actually I don't even think, cuz after that was Black Ops 4, right?
Yes, because it would have been yeah, so it would have been rotating.
And I never actually bought Black Ops 4, but I heard it was a really good game. But
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
I just couldn't go back to the boots on the ground. It just felt like way too easy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think you should give people that option, because a lot of people talk about how, like some old school streamers that have played all the games, they talk about how Black Ops 3 was their favorite game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's my personal favorite. The nostalgia of Modern Warfare 2 might put that above, but...
and I don't know why it would be so hard to put in a playlist like that. I don't think that would be an issue.
I don't either. I think we kind of get like blurred lines with shit because
yeah, definitely.
I don't think the devs are very transparent about what they can and can't do, because like you would think that if they've already done it, that it would be saved in their servers.
Right, like copy and paste.
Yeah, so that they could just realistically copy and paste it into fucking their game. But apparently it is a lot more difficult than it is. So
yeah. I was talking to Dean about it. He knows something about all kinds of shit, and he's like, "Yeah, but as soon as you fuck with one thing and like add something that wasn't in there before, you'd fuck up a whole bunch of other stuff."
Yeah, that is the one thing about coding. Those one little things.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, because remember, like Modern Warfare 2, when they had the javelin glitch where like they released an update, and all of a sudden, like if you like YY'd it or something like that and ran around with your javelin, and every time you got shot, it just dropped right on it. And you'd kamikaze. Yeah,
right. A Semtech.
So that's why. But to catch you up a little bit, Stolze, we're talking about why I was talking about a little bit about like incorporating a whole, with this Call of Duty that's an all-encompassing game with all the maps and stuff like that. You could also have playlists that are jetpack friendly and boots on the ground friendly and stuff like that. And he was talking about like, shouldn't it just be easy to like copy and paste that stuff in the game? And now a point that I want to make too, like even if it isn't that fucking easy, like why would you not find a reason to do it? Because there's some people who probably are not playing these Call of Duties like me because there's no jetpacks, and you just have a whole nother like fan base through both avenues, and keep it.
Yeah, because that probably won't play if there's jetpacks.
Yeah, exactly. And you know that Call of Duty has the fucking fan base and the fucking money behind it to get people on there. Like it's one of the biggest games of all time. People are playing the fucking game. So you can have realistically as many playlists as you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't understand is like when you think back to like Halo 3, like 07, you had so many playlists. Like you would have a Sniper's playlist. You would have Forge. You would have 7 on the 7th for double XP. You'd have Rift.
Bro, we were spoiled with old school Halo, bro. Spoiled. That game was way ahead of its time.
We were in 2022 and 2007.
Exactly, but now they just can't get their shit together, man. And that's another thing. Like, fucking is Forge?
Why I'm playing Call of Duty.
Forge still isn't released in fucking Halo, right?
It's slowly coming out.
Okay, well,
some people have access to it.
We've had Forge since like what, Halo 2 or some bullshit like that.
Yeah, but ever since Halo Reach, you haven't even been able to watch a game film with multiple people. You had to do it by yourself and sync it up and party. It was a dumb,
Jesus.
Like going over scrim film was stupid.
This
still is.
This is just shit that fucking I find completely unacceptable from fucking AAA gaming companies. Fuck Activision.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
No, but and the most annoying thing is like when you look at all when they keep saying like, oh, we don't want the casual gamer to be drawn away or anything by getting dominated. Look at all these most popular games in the world right now.
Yeah.
They're all
CS:GO,
focused around competitive.
Dota,
they're all focused
Valorant.
around every single one of them.
They're all focused around competitive.
Yeah, and the developer helps the competition and the tournament committees and everything like that.
Well,
the CDL has no help. Like it is the players making their own rules, their own everything, and it's like, and that's where the GAs come into play because people that like people like Shad and
GA
Spilly
is-
that might not watch it.
Yeah,
They're like,
GA
why
is
are these guys
gentleman's
not using the
agreement, so
M4?
everyone knows.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, why would they not be using the M4? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
Right.
The only thing that I will say about those games that are different than Call of Duty is the game is actually built around competitive. Call of Duty isn't. Call of Duty
That's
is.
what I'm saying. Like, if you build it around competitive, like that's going to be the community that you bring in.
I think that's
and
a
you don't
way,
have to worry about it.
I think that would be a way to draw back more continuous views for the same game. However, I don't think they really have that issue because people are still buying the game.
Right. They have their dedicated fan base.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I'm going to buy Nike no matter what.
Yeah.
Right.
And when you have these
But,
competitive games or whatever, the things that are bringing them back is seeing all these people, the new fucking the new guy who fucking come in who's just fucking cracked as shit and is slaying everyone. It's like, damn, I want to do that. And they have like a meta change that shifts everything. The game evolves with the competitive scene. And like, as we know, competitive gamers will go in and take a fucking game that devs have worked on for years and just immediately find fucking all kinds of shit with it. They know
Choppy.
the competitive Call of Duty pros or whatever, they know which gun is going to be meta on the first like hour of the game being released.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, they knew during the beta that the 74U was going to get GA'd.
Yeah. And
There's
so you wanted to talk a little bit about, like, this is a perfect segue, not talking about the competitives and games like that. You want to talk a little bit about how the Pro League, the CDL, Call of Duty League, is having these huge GAing problems. And if anybody doesn't know, GAing stands for Gentleman's Agreement, which means, like, all the pros get together in, like, a group chat type of thing, a Discord, and are like, yo, this shit's overpowered. We're just going to agree to not use this. And that's how a lot of it works. I think that it doesn't necessarily get like called to attention, but this has been in every single like Call of Duty game ever. I mean, it happens in fucking professional sports like football and stuff like that too. There's just certain stuff that may not be against the rules, but you don't do it.
Right? Yeah, it's like when you don't dunk in transition when you're up 30.
Yeah.
It's like just small little stuff like that, but it's to the point now where Hex was talking on the Optic podcast, like they might have to delay the CDL season because nobody was able to scrim for like the first. I mean, I think they're finally able to, but nobody was able to scrim for like the first 3 weeks of the game. So it's like the only people that were able to do it were the guys that figured out early how to do all the backdoor stuff, and half the time that's found out by AMs.
So why weren't they able to scrim? I mean, I understand that they don't know exactly what is going to be banned and what's not going to be banned, but they can still play against each other and still learn the mechanics.
Oh no, that was a game issue. Why they couldn't scrim?
Really? How so?
Yeah. So listen to this as my camera.
Yeah. Put your
I don't know what's going on, but so what they had to do is they have to join a public match, back out of the public match, get invited to the private match, join the private match. All 8 players have to do that in order for the private lobby to not drop right now to scrim.
Yeah.
I just watched Zuma do it in sub 8s.
That's I just don't get it. I mean, I do understand that like there is a disconnect between the devs and the competitive community, but like this is something that you can't have an entire community of the game that's arguably one of the bigger communities, because like even the like not hardcore gamers, even the casual gamers, they tune into the fucking competitive league. I see you distracted the shit.
I'm not taking any risks.
Yeah, even people tune into that. So for you to have like this entire community of like hardcore gamers that can't even fucking go in and scrim, it's just
that's their job,
bro.
You can't work.
Yeah,
that's like me going to do plumbing underground. I don't have a shovel. No. It's like, well, what are we doing? We can't even start. Like.
Yeah, no, man. It's just, it seems to be a complete shit show all around. And, you know, like I'm hearing from a bunch of people that are like, oh, this feels like an old Call of Duty. This is one of the best Call of Duties that there is. But a lot of people are also like prefixing it like, well, it could be that if. And it's like, well, that's a big if. Like, let's take some time and get the game fully developed before you release this fucking garbage, bro. And like the thing about it is people keep doing it. And I will ask people straight up, stop giving fucking Call of Duty your goddamn money. Stop giving Activision your money. That's the only way that they'll learn. Now, this new game has a lot more potential, being Treyarch and having 2 more years, but I know I'm not going to just all go out at willy-nilly and buy it until I actually see some gameplay and stuff. So.
Oh, I will. David, so my most trusted people... no, listen. You'll understand my rationale here in a second. My 2 most trusted people go in this order. Joe Burrow. David Vonderhaar.
Vonderhaar is up there,
I trust Vonderhaar with everything because no matter think about where we went from Modern Warfare 19 to Cold War just from a competitive standpoint. The maps, the gunplay, the slide, slide canceling. I don't care what anybody says. It wasn't the way that it was supposed to be working in the game. It was a broken mechanic. It shouldn't have been that way anyway.
If you want advanced movement, fucking jetpacks, bro.
The sliding snooping, it's all breaking cameras. Yeah. You don't get aim assist on the slides, and it's shit like that. It has nothing to do with positioning. It was supposed to be a defensive getaway, like a dolphin dive thing, but it turned into offensive, where you see somebody, you slide cancel real quick, break their camera, and you shoot them. I did it all the time. Trust, my hands still hurt from playing 2 years of Warzone and Vanguard, but the core mechanics of this game are so much better than what we've had since Cold War, where it comes down to just map knowledge, holding angles, knowing spawns are a little unpredictable depending on the playlist, but for the most part, it's all squad based. So if you're here, that's not going to be if there's no enemies here, that's not going to be where they're at.
Now, from what I've heard and what I've seen, because a lot of people have issues with, you're talking about a gameplay thing. When you're talking about small arena shooters or whatever that's based around 6 people or less, having a 3-lane map with not too many fucking lines of sight is very key to building a balanced game. And I know apparently a lot of these games in this new Modern Warfare 2, they're not like that. There's way too many lines of sights or whatever. That's one of the reasons why I didn't get it, because I was kind of looking at it and was the beta has the 3 best maps, and the rest of them are just fucking this garbage shit that they fucking...
And they had to get rid of one.
Yeah.
I was going to say, one of the beta maps ain't even in the game because they got sued.
They're getting rid of Hotel, too, for that reason.
Yep. So they made... Listen to this, really.
They didn't get the rights to use the location.
So, a hotel... There was a 5-star hotel. I think it's in Germany. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes. Amsterdam. Germany. I think. That sounds right.
But
Amsterdam, Germany.
They made an exact replica of this 5-star hotel. Right. The government comes in and says you can't do that because people that potentially want to attack the building can legitimately run simulations and never have to go into the building until they decide to blow the fucking place up.
Yeah.
No. And they would know where everything is. You walk around in there, you might be able to know where the water shut off is just because you played video games.
I mean, it's shot for shot identical. The only difference is decorations.
Yeah, it was insane.
And they legitimately had to take it out.
It's not gone yet, but it's gonna be gone.
And there's 2 of those.
It's in the files.
But... Yeah.
How many maps were released with the game? 10.
10.
Yeah. So now you're back down to 8. Fucking shit.
No, it's supposed to be 12.
You're Call of Duty, bro. We're releasing with fucking 10 maps, and you have to go to 8. Shit.
That 4 of them are competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah. And
Don't worry.
By the way, it's an Activision ran league. Keep that in mind. It's an Activision ran league.
Yeah, but they don't.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You're when's the last time you went out and got your wallet out, walked over to your living room, threw your money into the fucking fire and just lit it? That's what Activision does every single year, and then bitches at the players. They're why aren't you guys making content? It's why can't you make a game that turns on and off?
Yeah.
It's figure it out. It turns off just fine whenever I don't want it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, bro. Nah, it's fucking the game's tilting, man. You were talking about it a little bit before. You're maybe you just don't enjoy video games. I was nah, I was actually really enjoying fucking Apex before I played. I've hopped on Valorant a couple times. I was enjoying that. Fucking Call of Duty just feels like fucking same old COD.
Yeah,
it's the same old fucking fish sandwich at the local fucking festival, bro.
Yeah, that was just me piggybacking off of you when I said you were looking for every reason not to buy multiplayer. So I was
I still don't think I'm wrong.
It's just, and it sucks too because it could be so great.
You're just not gonna like Warzone as much as you could if you don't have the multiplayer.
That's fine. From what I've played with Warzone, I'll play when people are on, but now that we've got this out, that was a lot of the reason why I was jumping back on or whatever. I mean, and you guys do play a decent amount, so I'll still be playing it. I'll level up and see how it goes for a while. I'm definitely not done playing it, but I don't see myself playing it for a very long extended period of time or more than other games. Like,
right.
I've gotten to a point now where like I do want to hop on with you and Hubbard to play some Valorant because that game seems really fucking fun. And then I've gotten halfway decent at Apex now, and Apex is just fun. And I got a lot of really good friends that play that too. So yeah,
I'm scared to play Valorant.
Valorant's hard as fuck.
I'm scared.
Well,
it's hard.
Now would be
it's not even. I just know what's gonna happen, and I'm gonna have 2,000 hours.
Yeah.
Like I know.
Yeah, it's fun, but
I just can't do
it's
it.
a lot.
Yeah, no, that's.
I'm just gonna get addicted to it.
That's one of the reasons why I never played CS:GO was because it was like.
Yes, it's another reson why I still don't have it downloaded because I don't want to flick somebody with an op and it changes everything. For me.
It's just like this felt good. It's like the first time.
It's like, oh no,
right.
Yeah, man. But shit, I think we've talked enough about Call of Duty, skill-based matchmaking, and stuff like that. We're getting up on the 45-minute mark, so I'm going to go ahead and bring it into our last section, which is what you've been sipping on, which is basically any type of media that you've consumed in the past couple of weeks, I guess, because you guys aren't, like, continuous on here. So anything you really want to put on there. Shad, let's start out with you.
Not much, honestly. I've just been streaming Thursdays and Sundays, but mainly been playing Call of Duty just because that's in right now and everything. That's what all my streamer friends are playing and all kinds of shit. So just been trying to get a shitload of shorts and TikToks out of that and streaming that. I'm debating going back to Overwatch. I've been playing a little more horror.
Yeah.
There's a new game coming called the Callisto Protocol. It's supposed to be like Dead Space and Alien Isolation combined. So looking forward to that for YouTube. Yeah. So that should be fun.
I'm not a huge fan of like horror games or whatever, but like the whole space like sci-fi saga or whatever, I think that's a really interesting place to put the horror genre.
I really enjoyed Alien Isolation for that reason.
Yeah.
And I'm not big on I wasn't big on horror, I should say. Until I started making content, but it's been so fun just exploring all these other games I've never played before.
That seems to be how it goes for most people. Most people are like,
right.
I don't really enjoy the horror games all that much. Of course, they're meant to fucking scare you.
But then you start to.
But
right.
it gets you viewers. Like, people fucking enjoy watching you get scared. So, like.
Well, and it's not just that. It's just like, it's a different avenue for games that I've never played before. So it's like everything's just so new to me. So it's been cool. I'm enjoying them.
Yeah. Yeah, but you got a lot of shit. Anything you and wifey have been like watching before bed or anything?
She's been watching Shameless. I know it's kind of an older show, but it's a fucked up show.
Shameless is dope, bro. Fucking
it
Shameless
is
my goddamn family.
It's good. Other than that, not really though.
Yeah, nah. I've been tuning in. I mean, I've been working on a lot of this type of stuff, but I recently college football has been real big for me the past couple of weeks. I've really followed college football. Not as huge of an NFL guy, except for the fucking Bengals. God damn it, we're about ready to fucking go off.
There.
God damn it. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of that, and then I recently started watching this anime called Monster, which was anime that this guy that I used to watch he'd do like videos every couple months, and he'd like do anime reviews. You know, he'd do like the fucking like end of the year, his top animes and stuff like that. And that was one of his most recommended anime. And I started watching it a couple years ago, but like just couldn't really fucking stay focused on it. Not that I wasn't interested, I couldn't do it. So I'm starting to watch it now, and I think I realized why that happened. It starts out really slow, and now that I've gotten to like 20 or so episodes in, it's starting to pick up a lot. So I have high hopes for that. Apparently, it's a really good one. We'll see. We'll see how that pans out. So what about you, Stolze?
I've been on like 3 wormholes recently. Like, it's Bengals, obviously number 1, especially when they win. Yeah. Then I'm an absolute slut for sports shows on Monday morning.
Oh yeah.
Number 2, just Call of Duty stuff, YouTube stuff, CDL, just keeping up with all that, seeing what my old teammates up to, see how they're doing, shit like that. Yeah. And the 3rd one is I've been super into this like military wormhole. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this Sean Ryan guy.
Sounds familiar.
He's a former Navy SEAL, and he interviews other Navy SEALs and other people that were in, Ukraine soldiers and French special forces, people from all over, but Army people and stuff like that. But he interviewed the guy that killed Bin Laden, and it was a 5-hour interview, and he like broke the whole thing down, and it was like the easiest 5 hours of just straight listening.
Yeah,
it was fascinating, right. And then like that got me into a wormhole of checking out his other guys.
Bro,
and
I absolutely
interviewed
love those moments when you're just fucking like, this is so genuinely easy to fucking consume right now. It's fucking fantastic, bro.
Well, the best one was that one was really good, but there was this Cody Alford dude. So he was a Marine Raider, and he was in Fallujah, which Fallujah was one of the most occupied cities by the Taliban. It was one of their like literal hotspots, big time issue area. And they're sitting there fighting back and forth, across a couple buildings. And he said he peeks out of this window, and all of a sudden, bang, everything goes black. And he said, and he literally referenced Call of Duty. And I know for a fact that you guys are going to understand what I'm about to say.
I think I heard about this.
He said,
no, so he said he had an outer body experience. From the top down. He could see the buildings that he was in. He could see his body. He could see his squad mates next to him. He could see the enemies across the street that he was fighting. Like when you spawn in like he literally said, it's like when you spawn in Call of Duty and you can see everything. And he said, and then he just got snapped back into it.
Down. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. He got shot in the helmet, and he was like severely concussed to the point where he was like Tua. Yeah. Like he was like fetal position.
Yeah. Right.
And he woke up to his buddy. He woke up to his buddy just kicking him in the leg. Like, wake up! We are going to be fucked if you don't wake up. So he's like throwing up and shit. They call in a what the fuck's it called? Like when they're real close, a danger close. Like they're calling in this airstrike across the street. It has to be perfect. And so they're like calling the danger close, run backwards, and they ended up walking for like 5 miles. And he said, this dude, he was like, I was so just concussed and blacked out. He was like, I was throwing up every 30 seconds. He was like, it was the worst shit ever. But just hearing like the story from that person, like you can feel it. It's crazy.
Right. Yeah, I'd like to. That sounds fucking interesting as shit.
I'll link it to you
for sure, because I might have to check that out. But like when I watched is it Marcus Luttrell? The lone survivor.
Yes,
I watched him. I watched him on Joe Rogan's podcast one time, and it was interesting, but I wasn't a huge fan of him. I mean, obviously he's not like a talk show host or anything like that, but I felt like he wasn't necessarily presenting himself in the best way. So I'd like to see some of the other people that they did, because like that's a hell of a story, and it just didn't necessarily come off the way that it needed to for me.
Right.
The most interesting part about that podcast is it actually kind of went viral a little bit. At the end of it, he goes, they're talking about like something that's going on with Russia and the United States or some shit. And he goes, and Joe's like, oh, well, that sounds interesting. He's like, well, I gotta go take a piss. He's like, when I come back, do you want to talk about it? And he's like, yeah. And he gets up to take a piss, and it just cuts. Like they just got rid of the rest of the podcast. It's like,
they even mentioned it. It was like 2 hours of the podcast that they cut.
Yeah, and like they just something that they couldn't post, I guess. So.
Huh.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like this dude was saying, his name's Rob O'Neill, the guy that killed Osama bin Laden. He was saying that the reconnaissance that they had on this house, he was like, I don't even know how they found this house. He was like, they found out Osama bin Laden was 10 miles away from the Iraqi border in a house in Pakistan. Yeah. And he was like, we don't know how this person found him or whatever. So they described the house to him or whatever. They're like, so-and-so's going to be here, so-and-so's going to be here, so-and-so's going to be here. When you walk inside of this house, you're going to go to your right. To your left, there's going to be a staircase. Osama bin Laden's son is going to be sitting at the steps. He's going to be armed. He's his last arm of defense. He was like, I turn that corner, I look up, those staircases. He's like, and sure as shit, there's that kid. Yeah. He's like, we get rid of that kid, we go. She was like, you're going to walk in there, you're going to see Osama bin Laden, his wife, and their kid. He's like, I walked in there, shot Osama bin Laden 3 times in the head, and there was his wife and kid.
Yep.
And he was like, holy shit. He's like, I felt worse for the kid than anything. He's like, you have nothing to do with this.
Right. There's got to be so many different emotions going through. Like, not only did I just kill like the single fucking most known terrorist in fucking probably the entire world, but I also just took away a father and a fucking husband and shit like that. And fucking just the fucking the fact that you fucking are so fucking good at what you do that you were in the position to be there to take out that guy is just something in and of itself. So
it's insane.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to hear some of those stories because that.
Yeah, and he's got a pretty wide spectrum because like he did those guys, and then the next podcast I listened to was Roger Reeves, who was Escobar's #1 smuggler.
Oh, really? So he doesn't just do military personnel?
No, and Roger Reeves talks about everything. Like he served all of his prison time and everything. Like he talks about everything.
I mean, why not? Fucking.
And Escobar wasn't even the biggest smuggler.
Oh,
that
really?
Ozoa guy. He said that Ozoa guy was pushing way more weight.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to check that dude out. Fucking, that might be one of my new top guys. Right now it's Rogan and fucking Lex Friedman, but Lex Friedman's got some.
This dude has like a Rogan feel to it. Like this dude that's interviewing, like when these dudes are talking, like all you hear is them talking. He doesn't interrupt. He just like sometimes the guest will talk for 45 minutes.
Well, that's one of the things about Joe Rogan's podcast that makes it a little bit different than a lot of them because like people call him like the best interviewer of all time, but what makes his podcast so much like better is his personality. He bounces stuff off. He bounces ideas off. He is very good at interviewing. But if you watch, like,
he's just so engaged.
Like Lex Friedman, I feel like Lex Friedman is a way better interview than Joe Rogan is. Way better. So, yeah.
I can see that.
I don't know. We got anything else we want to talk about, boys? We're rolling up on about 55 minutes.
I'm gaining a lot of trust in this Bengals team.
Oh, you want to talk about the Bengals? Let's do it, bro. Fucking.
I do. I want to go on. I need to go on record about it. Zach Taylor, still not that good of a coach. I don't care what anybody says.
There's
play calling wise, I'd agree.
There's moments with the play calling that could be
like
better.
Game, like just the way they sometimes, and it happened like 4 times this year. It just felt like from the first snap the game was already like away from him.
Yeah,
like
the fucking Browns game.
Like you just can't reel it back in. And while our offense is so good, if you start slow, you have to play perfect football for 2 quarters, 3 quarters, whatever. Like we did it 3 times in the playoffs.
And it seems like almost all of our wins except Carolina have been that way.
Yes.
And maybe Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta.
Now, with that being said, I'm worried about this weekend. Just revenge game factor wise.
This is a losable game. I think this is.
It's for sure losable.
Where we're looking at right now, with our ability to not have our fucking arguably top player and best receiver fucking Chase in right now, I think that they've found their fucking stride.
Chase is back.
Is he back for sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's expected to play.
I think that we found a good, nice little fucking rhythm with a bunch of other people. I hope that Chase does not limit us because I noticed that back in the past couple games when he was in, we tried to force the ball to him too much. And, like, we have way more weapons than fucking just Jamar Chase. Yes, is he our best player and our best receiver? Probably. Sure, you can argue that point. But if you're forcing it to him every fucking down, then you're just becoming one-dimensional, and you can't be that way.
Right.
And
Dalton did the same thing with Green.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And Green just wasn't as good as Jamar or T, in my opinion.
I mean, we can talk about fucking Dalton, like, the year, even though McCarron was even playing that game with, like, Pittsburgh. We had the most talented team in the NFL, I think, that year. And I think that this team is exponentially more talented.
Oh,
I think that if you watch that Titans game last week, you should be fucking scared of the talent that the Bengals have on their team. Maybe not the coaching, maybe not the play calling, but from a pure talent aspect, this might be the best team in the league. I would argue that it is.
I don't know if I'm ready to call it the best team.
Not best team, personnel wise.
Like they're definitely the deepest.
Yes. That's what I'm trying to
say. Dude, it is like next man, like Trenton Irwin, just out of nowhere.
Right.
But the one thing I want to go on record about, I think the Bengals end up with a higher seed than the Bills.
I can see it.
And hear me out on this, because the rest of the Bills' schedule goes as follows: at the Patriots, versus the Jets, versus the Dolphins, at the Bears, at the Bengals, versus the Patriots. That's not necessarily any different than the Bengals playing Chiefs at home, Browns at home, at Tampa, at New England, at home against the Bills, at home against the Ravens.
I think that we have the tougher schedule, but the way that
the Dolphins and Jets are 8-3 and 7-4.
I know, but the way that Allen has been playing, I definitely say that you might have a point there because they haven't been playing necessarily as much as they need to, and with that level of competition, it's crazy.
Their defense is hurt.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be honest, I'll probably get some shit for this, but I don't know if the Chiefs are as good as their record either. Have you seen their schedule? They played no one.
Same thing with the Eagles.
Yeah,
I don't know what. I can't decide on the Eagles or the Dolphins.
I actually did that this week. I looked that up and I was like, this doesn't necessarily. I mean, they're still fucking a very talented.
They're good. They're very good.
They've got that whole revenge thing going on because we came back in the second half to beat them twice last year. So they're going to be ready. Now I'm hoping that we might just be their fucking cancer and we might just go in and absolutely maul them.
We might just be rent free.
Yeah.
Like straight up, we might be rent free.
Yeah, and fucking if we do it a third time, we might live in fucking Reed's fucking or we might live rent free in Reed's mind. And
honestly,
it'll be the Orange Kingdom.
Yeah,
it makes me feel better not having Cheeto since they don't have Tyreek.
Yeah. Tyreek is definitely one of the weapons that I thought it was weird that they got rid of him. What was that? Fucking I don't pay attention to most of it. Like I don't watch the games. I watch that fucking crazy ass Jaguars.
I gave Mahomes $500 million.
Yeah, I think you just freaking
that's what I would have figured. Yeah, but I when I look at like the NFL, I don't watch many of the other games unless it's something like the Ravens Jaguars game, which actually matters to us because we're behind the Ravens.
Right.
I do pay attention to like stats and records and who's playing who and seeing what's going on in the entire league. So, I think that the Bengals are fucking way more talented than they've ever been. I think they're super fucking deep this year. I think that they've proven that they can compete with anybody. It's just a question of whether or not our fucking play calling can stand up with some of these other teams, and we can stay healthy.
It's our first quarter.
Yeah.
Straight Absolutely. Up. Like it's a matter of if are we down 13, 17, 14 nothing in the first quarter, or is it 10-7? Is it 7-3?
Yeah.
Where are we at? Close. Because Zach doesn't know what he wants to do in the first half of games if his shit's not working.
Yeah. No, and it's not always necessarily a bad thing because I'd rather be a second half team than a first half team.
Absolutely.
Because the teams get beat in the second half. So as long as we can keep it close and don't fucking suffer from the Browns game, the only game that I really saw this year that the Bengals was just like, what the fuck are we doing, was the goddamn Browns game. It made absolutely
It happens every year.
Yeah. Hopefully we can get Burrow can get a dub over the goddamn Browns.
Well, and our run defense is so good, and we hold Henry to under 100 yards in 2 games, but we can't fucking stop Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
Well, they also got 2 backs.
Well, yeah.
So they got fresh legs going at all times.
Right.
They ain't like Kareem, some fucking Joe Schmo.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right.
Like he'd be in Kansas City if he didn't do that shit.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like.
Yep.
Yeah. So. We got
But offensive line's looking good. Our defensive line, bunch of fucking dogs.
Yeah.
Secondary, whatever. Eli Apple's good for 1 play a game, and then he looks lost on 5
the best defensive player on the entire team this year, bro. I think he's let up 1 touchdown.
Sam Hubbard has entered the chat. What the fuck are we talking about? Sam Hubbard is literally dominating.
Apple, bro, he's having a great season. Everybody fucking hates on him, bro. But he's doing his fucking job.
You could argue Reader too.
Yeah.
DJ wasn't if he didn't get hurt.
He didn't get hurt, but
Sam Hubbard while Reader was out,
he was phenomenal.
He's off the edge. He's just so good, and in run defense, he is just so good. He just reads the ball perfectly.
Right.
I mean, that's what you get when you play GCL South football. That's what happens.
Oh yeah, Elder. That seems like a fucking good way to end this fucking podcast. It's been episode 44 of Your House, Our Rules. Peace.
Hoo day.